Hello, everyone. My name is Filipi Pires. I'm so glad to be here to have this opportunity to share more about this project, this open source project, by the way. So thank you, Black Hat, for this opportunity. And today we're going to talk about Horusec, elevating vulnerability detection in your code. So let me introduce myself. I'm Filipi Pires, and I'm director of threat research of the Ciência Segura Identity Threat Labs. So I'm responsible for identify new threats, new vulnerabilities, and different environments, like, for example, on-premise, cloud, and hybrid. And not only this, but to understand how the threat actors are using identities to explore different environments, okay? And I'm very active in different open source and communities, okay? So I like to mention it a lot about the hacking is not a crime. I love this project, by the way. I'm one of these advocates of this project. So the idea behind of this project is to spread the message about the hacking, what is exactly this term, right? So how you can use your creative mind, how using this as a lifestyle, how to find the vulnerabilities, and how you can help the companies to improve their security posture, right? So, but when you talk about the other people that stole something or, expose some information, so we are talking about threat actors and criminals, okay? And I'm a sneak ambassador as well, so the idea of this project is to talk about statistical analysis code, by the way, the open source project, of course, and I'm speaker of the Red Team Village, and Adversary Village is a part of one of these communities that we have in DEF CON, right? And I'm structure writer and reviewer at those three magazines in Europe. So if you'd like to write some articles or publish something, so probably I can help you, I can review this kind of articles if you want. Okay, so this is something about me, and I would like to give this shout out of this my friend, my colleague Gilmar Steves. He's a chief information security officer of the StackBot by Zoop Innovation. So when he created this project, he one of the important person to create this project in 2021 actually. So Gilmar is basically one of the guys that have a large experience in cybersecurity, and he likes a lot. He work a lot with different open source projects. So let's talk about this project, Horusec. What is Horusec? Basically, Horusec is an open source tool focused on performing the statistical analysis code. This is the main idea of this project, okay? So to analyze the code during the development process, okay? Not only the statistical analysis, but one of the differences to looking to the programming language and to looking for different tools, like, for example, Terraform and Kubernetes. The idea is not to focus on the main programming language, like for example, Java, JavaScript, C#, or Golang, for example, but to looking more the different code, like, for example, Elixir, Swift, and other things like this, and to looking from different tools to try to find vulnerable codes inside of this during the development process. And not only this, but the idea of these tools is to bring some or to find some key leaks and security flaws inside of the file if they have some hardened code or hardened password code, okay? And of course, so when you think about the development process, you need to think in the developer side. So how the developer can, increase the security posture in their code. So that's the idea of the Horusec, okay? So let me go to the demo part. I'll explain more how this tools works, okay? Nice. This is basically the documentation, the website of the Horusec. So again, is identify vulnerability simple and fast. That's the idea of this project. Basically, you can click here in documentation. You go to directly to the documentation, the Horusec, and you see what is again the Horusec. So I explained something to you now during this presentation, but I would like to share 3 main points here of the Horusec. One of these main point is Horusec is a SAST tool. What does that mean, Philip? SAST is basically statistical application security testing. It means that we perform some analysis in the code, okay, to find some byte or binary or code vulnerable and bring us some ideas how you can fix this, okay? That's the idea about the statistical application security testing. On the other hand, you have a leak. This is another function that you can find in Horusec. What that means, Philip? So the idea is to leak checks the security code for leaks of credential. It means not only credential, but private keys and hard code password, as I mentioned. And the third part is about the dependency audit. It means that is a similar SCA analysis, analysis composition, scan analysis composition. It means so that you try to find some, vulnerable third-party libraries inside of your code. So all those things is to helping the developer to creating this specifically code more safe. So when you think about the application security, for example, guys, or when you try to implement in the future of the DevSecOps, so one of the part is to looking from the tools that can help you, like a SAST tool, for example, and this is a super nice project, okay, that you can use. How I can use or where I can use this project, Flip. So you can use it locally, or you can use in CI/CD pipeline, or even if you're a developer, you are watching now, you can use any IDE extension, in this case, VS Code. Okay, so I'll explain more how you can use this. So let's go to the CLI and click here in installation, and it's super simple to use. In my demonstration here, I use it locally. Now I can use, of course, using, for example, in Docker environment, or I can use it without Docker tutorial. It's super simple. You can use just a Mac or Linux or even Windows. You can download the binary if you want. But basically, in my demonstrations here, I'm using in the Linux machine. I just copy and paste here, as you can see, paste simple like this. Is a simple command that you using the curl request to access this specifically shell, and we'll downloaded this specifically bash, the latest version. Okay, so I will execute this. They will probably request my password because I'm not using the root user in this case. So they will request this specifically binary, and after that they will request a password again. It's more safe. Okay, so I will put in my password, and they will move the binary for the local bin, as you can see here in my page. Okay, let me go better here to see. Okay, so I have here the Horusec installed. So we have many commands to use Horusec, but if you don't, this is the first time you hear, no problem. You can type, for example, -- help, and you can see the common way that you can use in your Horusec. Okay, so here we have available commands. We will use basically the start to execute itself the Horusec. Okay, Horusec -start to start, in fact, the tool. And if you see here, you put in --help. When I click here, you can see some parameters or command that you can using to figure things inside of the code. You can see, like, for example, you can use in certificate path string. You can use, for example, enabled shell check. Many things you can use. But in my case, I'm using, for example, -p. It means that I can set the path of the project, for example, or if I need to send this information, these vulnerabilities for and specifically web application management that Horusec has as well, I can use it, for example, -a to using a token like this one here, authorization token to using Horusec server. If you sending this vulnerability for a specific web management console, okay? And maybe you are thinking, okay, I have, for example, other tools like SonarQube or something like this. You can use, for example, this specific output to sending this information, for example, a SonarQube if you want, if you have in your environment. Remember, SonarQube, of course, they have a focus on code quality, but they have some feature of the security. But the Horusec, the idea is to looking for more programming language and tools, and the leaks, as I explained during in the beginning of this presentations. Okay, nice. So let me go for how you can use Horusec. So basically, you can type Horusec start again, and if you don't put any parameters here, just click enter. If you see, then you proceed to execute. In fact, in this specifically repository that I am now, I will put in here no, just to give you the example again. Let me put in pwd here, and this is my path here. So if you remember when I mentioned something about the -p, like Horusec, -start. Let's see here, -p. I need to set here the path. For example, if I would like to evaluate one of this specifically folder, if I don't put anything, they will inform you what is exactly this path that we will execute. But I can set -p and select, for example, the real or the path that I can analyze. If I don't set, they will perform in this exactly where they are, okay? So after that, I click enter again. So you started to proceed for this scanning. Remember, I have here during this presentation some vulnerable codes. If you do like to do the same test, you can go here in my GitHub, for example, Filipi-86/auto-demo, okay? So you can see here some folders vulnerable, and not folder, actually we have code vulnerable here, and you can do the same test if you want, okay? You can reproduce the same test if you want, okay? It's super simple. You can find here my GitHub you can find this specific project. So when I return here, if you see, it's super fast when you perform this. Remember, I am using virtual machine here. I am recording the session. I am do the streaming the same time. So if you see here is a super fast analysis. So the time that I started and the time that I finished, you know, it's less than 1 minute, for example. So let's see the results of this information. So as you can see here, we have the language that will Horusec analyze. The second one is the severity. In this case is high. The line and column, as you can see here, the information where you can find in this vulnerable code. And here, one of the interesting thing is the security tool. It means that we can find what is the engine responsible for detect this vulnerability. This is super nice. And here, the confidence when you think about, you know, the security information. Let's see, or information security, I mean. So here is the file. So if you see here, they find here the whole path. So remember, when I execute, they just looking from, this is the main folder, but when you see they looking for all folders that you have inside this main project, okay? So if you see here inside of this Horusec, you can see the folder called node, and inside of the node you can see the injection.js, okay? So here is the process vulnerable, the rule ID that is identified by the Horusec engine. The type is, in this case, is vulnerability, and here is the explanation, if you see here, okay? So he explained what is exactly this vulnerability. And not only this, but if you would like to understand more about this vulnerability, you just can, you know, copy and paste or click here, for example, and paste here to see what is exactly this vulnerability, to learn more about the CWE, for example. If you see here, CWE means the common weakness enumeration. So here, the explanation, what is exactly this kind of vulnerability. Not only this, but you can, you know, if you do like to learn more about this vulnerability, you can read all things and try to understand more, okay? So let's see another results. Here you can see another Horusec engine, and take a look at this one. Here, when they're looking from Go, for example, Golang, they're using another security tool, in this case, the GoSec. So if you see here, we can find more than one engine to analyze this vulnerable code. Let me return here in the documentation, and I will explain to you more details about this information. So if you go here for the overview, and if you go here, check out all supported language and available tools. If you click here, for example, you will see the difference of the program language and tools, and not only this, but the engine. So here, take a look at this, the Horusec-leaks. It means that there are specifically engine focused on leaks. And the second one in Java, Kotlin, Kubernetes, Node, C#, and Dart, and so on and so forth. But if you go below, take a look at this, available program language and tools. In this case, it's a kind of, we use in other open source projects to put inside of the Horusec and to perform and to bring them the different results for different perspective, like, for example, entities, safes, and grep, and dependence checks, and tree as well. So all those things are like GoSec, for example, that I show you in the results. So you can see many different open source projects inside of this project, and you can bring you this information, like this one leak, for example. If you see optional search in GitHub history, you can use it, for example, Git leaks, okay? Just to understand. And of course, Filipi, okay, but I cannot see my program language here, for example, like, I don't know, it's not usual, but you can have some codes in PowerShell, for example. You probably don't find any, you not be able to find any SASE tool focus in PowerShell. or even, for example, Erlang, for example. But Horusec has a possibility to using this one here, using how you can create your own, for example, engine based on regex, for example, you can use in this. Okay, so this is an interesting part of the Horusec. Okay, so nice. This is the results that you can see. So I performed this in CLI. In the end of the code, you can see here how many possible vulnerabilities you can find, how many is low, how many is high, and medium. And after that, you can treat. If you are a developer, you just perform it by CLI. Okay, nice. So, but Felipe, you know, day by day, I don't use CLI. I using, VS Code to programming something. Okay, so in this case, you just can go here, for example, in the extension. Okay, you just type here, for example, Horusec, and if you see here, it's here the Horusec, basically the extension that you can use. Okay, I of course put in here, and I using the same folder, just can click here, for example, performer, right? And if you see here holding, Horusec started to analyze your code. When you play start, they started to perform the same analysis that I performed before here in CLI. Okay, so you can use in both scenario. If you're a developer, for example, you just start the analyze, okay, and after that, the Horusec will bring you the results. So they are analyzing here. And if you're a developer and using IDE, for example, they will bring this information here, as you can see. So if you click in this, the first one, for example, JavaScript, take a look at this. They will show you where is the line and column. And if you put in here, for example, basically the mouse here to see, they will explain where is the parameter, what is the, again, the program language, and what is the information. And not only this, but if you see here, it's the same case of the CLI. You can see here the link of the CWE that can redirect you to learn more about that. Okay, here another one is in Java, for example. They will show you here the same case. In this case, the Horusec engine. If you go here below, for example, you can see GoSec, for example. In this case, and the process of the weak cryptography primitive, it means MIDI 5. Okay, the kind of hash that can be broke, for example, and you can see many others informations here. So you can see both scenarios in this case, in the CLI and ID. The third scenario is to use in CLI, okay, CI/CD pipeline. So let me go here, for example, in the installation, as you can see here, and I will click here in installation. If you can go here, you can see the possibility to use in CI/CD pipeline, okay? So go here, you can see the installation via pipeline. So if you're using, for example, GitHub Actions, you can use it, for example, AWS Code Builder, or even you can use it, for example, Circle CI, Jenkins, you have Azure DevOps as well, and GitLab CI/CD. It means that you have many possibilities here to integrate this tool with your environment. Okay, nice. So let's go and understand how you can do this. So I will give you this example in GitHub Actions. So I'm go here in my actions. I was doing some testing. Let me confirm. Oh, okay. So in this case, as you can see here, I don't have any, GitHub Action, any flow working now or before. So if you don't know how this works, you can click here and set up workflow in your environment. Basically, you need to create a file of this specifically flow, okay? In this documentation, you can see how you can create this step by step. Basically, you need to create this GitHub and workflows, and after that, you need to create in the main, or not the main, but you need to create a file, YAML file, basically. But to proceed for the GitHub Actions, you need to create both repository or folder, that means, folder, and you can create this specifically file, okay? In my case, I will not do this because leave this page, because I have here, let me just update this page to confirm that I don't have any workflow here, okay? So nice. So let me go for my code here. This is the main code. I have here this folder and workflow, but remember, I need to create a folder. So in this case, Horusec Horusec-YML file, and let me click here, enter, and now I have a file, and I can go here simple like this in the documentations, installations, and I just copy and paste here, and I will explain, not here, sorry, at here, and I will copy and paste, and this is for if you would like to integrate, but as I'm using here in locally, I don't need to use in this. And take a look at this. Just basically, this is the name of the workflow. Okay, I will do this push and I will execute this job, and I will call Horusec security. Okay, and I will perform this simulating the CI/CD pipeline in this case. If you see here, basically, or like a super simple, if you see here, is the same command that I performed using via CLI, okay? I just execute the curl, as you can see here, okay? And set up the bash and download the latest version. And I set the Horusec start -p. When I put here, for example, com/, it means that I will execute exactly in the main folder that I'm doing this. And I will set -a, okay? Filipi, I don't know what does this mean. Okay, no problem. Let me go to here, start -help, and let's to find the -e here, -e, return error. What that means? Return error execute one if found vulnerability, okay? So here in this case, you can do something like a gate, okay? So if in your CD pipeline, if you find some vulnerable code, you can set this. And if you find, for example, any vulnerability, you can stop the procedure, for example, to build something or to do some release or something like this. I know that sometimes it's quite complicated to do this in the production, but of course, when you think about the future of the DevSecOps, you can implement in step by step and so on and so on and so on. Okay, but just for demonstration, of course, I will do this and I will add other things because I'm executing locally. So I have here how to using Horusec without Docker. So in this case, I just copy and paste here, disable Docker as true, and I will add here in the end of this command because I would like to test in my environment. Okay, so basically it's done my YAML file. I just go here again. And of course, I need to simulate the CI/CD pipeline. Okay, so I need to add basically this file in my repository, and after that, I need to commit this. Okay, -m, and I just call Horusec. And if you see here, I change one file, and this is the file that I created now in this demonstration for you. And after that, I need to push, right? Push original, and I click enter here. And if you see, they will pushing to the master. If I return here in the workflow, okay, and this is the action, I will just update the page. And if you see here, let me go the action. So actually, they will update in here. So let's see if they creating this specifically flow for us. So when I click actions, take a look at this. They starting basically this workflow, as I mentioned with you. And if they found some vulnerability, they will bring you this information to us, okay? So let me click here, for example, to see this information, how the Horusec procedure. And if you see here, they set up basically the curl, the job, as I mentioned, okay? To perform the curl, they download the environment. As you can see, maybe it's too small. Let me go more I'm here to see better, okay? So they download, as you saw in the CLI, okay? And after that, they download, they move it to the bin, to bin folder, okay? And they perform the scanning code, okay? Remember, we have 7 vulnerabilities. So if you have a vulnerability, they need to stop as a gate this, let's simulate again the specifically, build of this code. So if you see here, they found for some vulnerability. If they found, they should stop. Like in this case, this procedure completed with exit 1 because they found vulnerabilities in this code. So in this case, we can simulate and CI/CD pipeline this job. And of course, if you have something, you can go, for example, in the code, do some, fix in the code, and after that, you can rerun the jobs and do other things like this. Okay, so remember, I present to you, so basically some possibilities of this project, okay? One of these possibilities to execute itself, the project using CLI. The second one is execute actually via uh, IDE. It means VS Code, and the third party in CI/CD pipeline. So there are another, web application. So I don't have a time to explore all details, but basically the web application is the console management to manage all those vulnerabilities. Basically, you can send all those vulnerabilities from the specifically workspace, and after that you can have a control. Let me do an example, but basically you can set -A and send all those information. And what kind of information I can see, Filipe? Basically, you can divide this, for example, to see, like, let me show you here. I can set the workspace. I can see how many vulnerabilities I have, vulnerabilities by developer, by program language, and by, for example, project. I can see, for example, this kind of timeline of the quantity of the vulnerability, and I can see for each, for example, developer, and what is the code vulnerable. So I can see many things, and not only this, I can find, for example, for classifications of the vulnerability, I can integrate with auth types, like, for example, Kcloak, LDAP, and others, and I can, send some message service for, emails, and I can manage the webhooks using CLI. Okay, so that's the explanation basically about this web application management console. Okay, so basically here how you can set up this configuration is a super simple. You can use it, for example, via Docker, via many other things. It's simple to execute. In fact, just create a Docker composer or installation. You can go installation section. You can installing basically the this is super simple. I can explain here for you. This is the requirements. It's just step 1, step 2, and that's it. Okay. So nice. Let me do this for you. So let me click here, git clone, for example, and I can go here. Let me close here, and let me step back here. No need step back. No, I think better step back, and I paste here the git clone for you. For example, you clone this repository, and after that, if you see the documentation, is just go to the platform and make install. It's simple like this. Okay, so see the Horusec platform. Okay, and make install. And let's see if I have all dependents. If you see here, they have something in blank. They will start to execute this parser, this process about the Docker. And now I will do this demonstration to you. This I'm doing live here. So let's cross our fingers and to see what happened during this installation process. Okay. And during this process to install, so after that you just install, we will see some confirmations, and after that you can go to the local host, and to do some tests, you have some standard email and password, and after that you can start to send some information to that. Okay, so if I return here, so again I'm doing the same case. I'm doing this installation process, and I'm doing this streaming. So maybe we can wait for sometimes until we complete this process of this installation. Okay, so remember, so we have here important during this installation process. You can go here to Horusec, the main documentations. You can contribute with these projects. Just clicking here in GitHub, and this is our main page of this project. Okay, this Horusec by Zup IT, Zup Innovation. This is the company responsible for this project. So if you can, if you use this project, you can do some pull requests, some issues, open some issues, and here is the main platform, as you can see from Horusec. Okay, all those information you can find here. And if you have any question, of course, you can send a message to me or the team. Okay, so we're going to the end to finish this web management console installation. So let's see what happened in the end of this installation. If works, let's cross our fingers for the Lords of Demo, if they can help us or not. So let's see if works. Nice. So it's finishing, I think. So they need to download everything to complete, and after that to pull the complete instructing. This is the process to using a Docker Compose and Docker process. So just a simple copy and paste as I show you in the documentations here using Docker Compose. So after that, I need to go in this console and see what happened. And after that, I will submit and send some informations to the console manager to share with you, to show you how all those things works. So again, so we can use as I mentioned in CLI, VS Code, and CI/CD pipeline. And those three parts you can set, for example, -A, it means the authorization token. You can submit for those three parts, the three different, you can submit for this console management. Okay, and if you're using, for example, another vulnerability management tool, like, for example, Defect you can submit as well this information to this another platform if you want, if you prefer as well. So that's the nice part. Okay, so let's go. They will installing some services here, and after that I think we can proceed to do this integration. Okay, so let's wait a few moments more and let's see how this works. So waiting, so they will doing something. So let's wait one more time and let's see what happened now. Okay, I think we'll go to the end. So they pulling from the Horusec manager. So downloading everything. So they will instructing and pull complete. So I think it's finishing creating, PostgreSQL, the database and other things. Let's see. All things works for now. Horusec vulnerability core, analytic, and API. Let's see. Okay, they will give some permissions running. Okay, applying migrations for our Sec platform, applying the migrations of our Sec analytics, restarting our Sec authentic process, and let's see if we need to wait more time to do it. Okay. Okay, I'm supposing now everything is working good. So if I click here, for example, to open another one here, they will bring me this information, okay, Horusec manager. So here we can see the Horusec manager, okay. So basically the email address is dev-example1, so it's a dev at example.com, and the password is dev pass0 asterisk. I think it's this one, right? And signing and don't save, it works. So if you see here some tests that I made, some demos that I made, okay. So let me add here the workspace. I will call, for example, Black Hat, and I can put everything, or let me put demo Black Hat here, for example, and I save. Once again, I have another one here, and I can select this workspace, and now I have the workspace. I just added repository, so Black Hat demo, and this, let me delete here, and I put in Black Hat demo as well, save, and now I have here the repository. Okay, so I can go here, the handle, and not sorry, I can go here in the overview, and I see here the all informations about this specifically environment. But I need to set up the token to receive this. Remember, when I, this is for demonstration, I just click in here, for example, Black Hat demo. Okay, I can set what is the expiration, and I will, for example, save here, and I have here basically this token. I need to copy and paste here in whatever place. Just for demonstration, after that, I cannot using this. So let me return here, and I'm go to the Horusec once again, Horusec demo. Let me check here, demo, Horusec demo. Okay, so now I have here these informations. Again, remember the same vulnerable code here that we have, and now I can set here. Remember, Horusec start dash help, and remember I need to set here -a, okay, for string. In this case, I just set here, for example, nope, I just set Horusec start, and I can set here, for example, -p, okay, -p equal, and -a equal double quote, and I will paste here the token. So now what I do this, now I will submit all those vulnerable code that I found here. I will submit to this console management, okay? So everything that I found here, and this is specifically path, I will send to the console management. If you see here, they will perform this analysis in this same folder. Because of that, it's not necessary. I didn't need to add the -p. I just putting just to compare the another command that I use in CI/CD, for example. So if you think here, I could, for example, put here like -a, for example, equal, and I add here the, for example, the token. The similar is it very similar, okay? So after to scanning, I will send those information to the console management, okay? So they will perform this, and after that, maybe 1 minute, they will submit this to this management. So after that, I can close here. Okay, I will create this, and after that, I can delete, but I cannot read again just once when I generate this. And after that, I go to dashboard, and I need to wait from information that the Horusec will submit here. So let me wait here from this scanning. When they finish this scanning, we'll bring this information to us in our console management, okay? And we can see different informations, and here, as I mentioned with you. So let's wait about this analysis coding, okay? They submit 7 vulnerabilities to the Horusec management. Let me see if they will work now. Okay, it works, good. Thank you, Lords of Demo. Okay, one specifically 7 vulnerabilities by developer. If you see here, you can find the high, medium, and low. If you can go below, you can see for by programming language, it means, okay. And you can see here the others information like the timeline of the vulnerabilities. This is the day that I am recording this presentation to you. If you see the vulnerabilities again, you can see more details. You can see the hash. You can see if it's vulnerable, or you can accept the risk, or if it's false positive, or even if you correct, you can select this and update the vulnerability. For example, you can check here for critical, high, medium, info, or unknown vulnerability. So it's very useful for you. You can add more than one, again, users. You can use the webhook again, but for the management part, you can see this by developer again, by programming language, and so on and so on. Okay, guys, so that's I'm finishing here the presentation. And again, thank you so much for being here, and I hope this presentation should be useful for you. Again, this is my contact. Again, we have this web page with some talks that I'm doing. I made in different conference, and security conference and other events. My Twitter, I mean, it's not Twitter more, but X, my GitHub page, and my LinkedIn. So it would be nice if you can keep in touch with you. Okay, so again, thank you, Black Hat, for these opportunities. It's amazing to be here, and I hope to see soon in another another track. Okay, see you in the next event.